Local 58 is a haunted television broadcast network that hijacks your sleep like a parasite with a weather forecast. Let me tell you what Local 58 feels like. It's like insomnia got a radio tower and started transmitting its nightmares. This thing doesn't warn you about the horror. It invites you into it like a toothy smile through static. The first time you see weather service alert, your dumb mammalian brain says, "Oh, good rain," but then the next frames are body temperature readings dropping like flies. Corpses freezing in place, and the broadcast just casually says remain outdoors, as if freezing to death is part of a loyalty program. The genius of Local 58 isn't just the uncanny analog style, it's how it betrays trust. You're not scared of monsters, you're scared of institutional failure, of a world where the emergency broadcast system doesn't warn you, it kills you. You're scared of being alone at 2:53 a.m. with the volume turned up too high and your screen whispering things like you are on the fastest available route. It doesn't just break the fourth wall, it quietly sits behind you watching you watch it, because the horror isn't what's on screen, it's that it was meant to be broadcast. Someone wrote those messages, someone made that children's cartoon with skulls and sent it to your local station, and they're still out there somewhere scripting your reality like a puppet show. The Sun Vanished is a real-time Twitter horror series that turns celestial terror into a cosmic hostage situation. Imagine waking up and the sun is gone, not obscured, not eclipsed, just deleted, like someone rage quit the solar system mid-game. That's how this begins. But The Sun Vanished isn't just about the absence of light, it's about watching the world spiral through a cracked phone screen while men in white eyes chase you through cornfields. It's horror through battery drain. This ARG traps you in real time. Every tweet is a scream from a parallel Earth where panic tastes like metal, and every flashlight is a prayer. You don't just read the posts, you wait for them like a junkie, because each new tweet might mean the protagonist is alive, or worse still, tweeting after something took his skin. And don't get me started on the sirens. You'll never hear a Doppler effect again without checking the sky. Like a caveman, The Sun Vanished weaponizes quiet desperation. The world collapses, and your only lifeline is a Twitter thread with 2 battery and a sky that's been permanently turned off. It's less about survival and more about graceful degradation, like watching the last human lose signal in the void. The horror isn't just alien, it's algorithmic. You're not being hunted by monsters, you're being hunted by abandonment. This man is a fictional face that appears in dreams and possibly in the surveillance footage of your nightmares. This isn't a story, it's a virus with eyebrows. You've seen his face, haven't you? Of course you have. That stupid, uncanny Mr. Cleananzanax grin. It's not that he's ugly, it's that he doesn't belong. He looks like a man drawn from memory by someone trying not to remember him. The original site claimed thousands of people dreamed of him without knowing each other, and like idiots we believed it. Why? Because part of you wants to believe you've seen him too. This man is not an ARG in the traditional sense. It's an infection of the collective unconscious, a meme wrapped in a psychological dare. And hey, race the kicker, the original website, made by a marketer, the entire thing fabricated. But that doesn't matter. The horror isn't in whether it's true, it's in the fact that your brain is now asking, wait, have I? And the second you ask that, you've already lost. He's real. Now he'll show up in your dreams like an unpaid debt. He'll ask you questions you can't answer. He'll stand in the corner of your childhood home blinking wrong. It's not the character that matters, it's how quickly he becomes familiar. This man doesn't chase you, he just waits for you to notice. He's always been there. Gemini Home Entertainment is a found footage fever dream disguised as a 1980s educational video library infected with cosmic horror. Let me explain something about Gemini. It's not creepy, it's cosmic rot leaking through your VCR. It's like if PBS got possessed by a Lovecraftian tapeworm and still insisted on showing wildlife documentaries while your sanity peeled away. You start with videos like Deep Root Disease and think, oh, this is about gardening. 5 minutes later, a deer with a skull face is growing human teeth in its stomach. There's no story in Gemini. There's just disintegration of time, of biology, of what it means to look at something and still understand it. It gives you tutorials, commercials, training modules for corporations that don't exist, for life forms that aren't carbon-based. And every time the colors desaturate or the audio warps something in you, remembers something it never learned. It's so brilliantly detached. There are no protagonists, no villains, just a predatory universe folding in on itself. While we make slideshows about invasive species, Gemini isn't telling you a story, it's warning something else about us. And the worst part were not even the main characters, were just the soil. Something smarter is sprouting from you. Watch enough Gemini tapes, and you start to understand extinction isn't a tragedy, it's just another data point in someone else's home movie. Ben Drowned is a haunted Majora's Mask cartridge that turns nostalgia into a blood ritual with code. No, you don't get it. This wasn't just a creepypasta. This was the internet's first seance. And we summoned Ben, a vengeful digital ghost born from loneliness, ASCII, and corrupted save files. The moment Juducible uploaded those videos, game over. Our collective childhood got rewritten in real time. The song of healing, now a siren, links empty eyes and abyss, and the elegy of emptiness statue. That's him, that's Ben. And he's following you now. What makes Ben Drowned iconic isn't the haunted game trophy, it's the execution, the way it weaves game footage, diary entries, fake websites, and in-game glitches into a cohesive mind virus. You start out skeptical, even amused, but then the game starts talking to the player. It calls them by name. It says, "You've met with a terrible fate, haven't you?" And suddenly you're not sure if the pixels are corrupted or you are. It's meta-horror with teeth. It uses your memories as weapons. Your love for Zelda becomes your punishment. And the scariest part, it evolves. The ARGs spread into YouTube forums, documents, even real websites with riddles and encoded files. It blurred the line between audience and victim, between fiction and invocation. Ben Drowned isn't about a ghost in a cartridge, it's about how easily we let him out. The Mandela Catalog is a YouTube analog horror series where doppelgangers whisper your death into your reflection. This one is a mirror you shouldn't look into ever. The Mandela Catalog operates like psychological malware. At first, it's just off-brand Christian PSA tapes and public access safety guides. Don't talk to strangers, trust your local authorities, beware of intruders. But soon the strangers look just like your mom, and your local authorities are already dead, and the intruders, they're inside the tape watching you blink. Alternates, that's what they're called, creatures that look exactly like you, but aren't you. They're a glitch in the perception matrix, the way a smile holds too long, the way a loved one's voice almost hits the right pitch. And worst of all, they don't need to kill you, they just need to talk to you long enough. Mandela is soaked in that kind of slow, claustrophobic terror, the kind where you know something is wrong, but can't say what it preys on. Recognition failure, like if I showed you a picture of your childhood bedroom, but it was too wrong, you'd feel it in your teeth. And then there's the suicide hotline PSAs that aren't trying to save you, they're trying to encourage you. It's weaponized despair. You don't know if you're watching a warning or an invitation, and by the end it doesn't matter, because once you've seen your alternate, you stop being the original. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is a puppet show where Sesame Street gets dragged into an existential furnace. This is the one your therapist warned you about before you had a therapist. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is what happens when childhood education gets injected with ketamine and left alone in a locked basement. You think you're watching puppets sing about colors or time or love until the meat starts pulsing, until the clock starts screaming, until the word creativity becomes a jail cell made of flesh and irony. Each episode starts like it's funded by PBS, ends like it was directed by David Cronenberg's Taxidermy Shadow. There's Duck Red Guy and Yellow Guy all trying to learn, but what they're really doing is suffering the collapse of meaning. Every lesson is a trap, every song is a sermon wrapped around a noose. What's the right way to eat healthy? Answer organs. This isn't parody, this is ritual dismemberment of nostalgia. You aren't laughing, you're begging to. You're watching your childhood get skinned alive with finger paints while a calendar tells you it's not June anymore. And when they made a full TV show, they didn't tone it down, they cranked it up. The metaphors went deeper, the puppets became metaphysical hostages, and even the set looked tired of existing. Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared doesn't teach you lessons, it breaks the chalk, eats the teacher, and then makes you finish the curriculum with no mouth and no gods left. Marble Hornets is a found footage series that turns Slender Man from meme into modern myth. Let's talk about obsession, about camera static as a lifestyle, about waking up with bruises and no footage, but the tape still being full. That's Marble Hornets. It doesn't start big, it starts with a guy, Alex, abandoning a student film project because something felt wrong, and then it just spirals into tapes, into codes, into paranoia that smells like cold sweat and broken wrists, and then the operator, not Slender Man, no tentacles, no spooky piano, just a tall, suited, faceless entity that stands perfectly still while your sanity collapses like a wet lung. You think you're watching a mystery unravel. No, you're watching people unravel, slowly, intimately, like watching your best friend dissolve through voicemail. Marble Hornets is low-budget genius. Every shaky frame matters, every cut, could hide something, and you get to the point where the lack of music becomes its own soundtrack. It's like breathing in pure dread, but the worst part, the tapes aren't in order. You get them as they're found, which means the timeline is broken and you have to piece it together. And if you mess it up, you lose yourself in it. You forget where the fiction ends. You start checking your corners. You start hearing audio distortion at 3:41 a.m. and pausing your own thoughts to listen. Marble Hornets doesn't ask, what if monsters are real? It asks, what if you documenting your life makes them real? The Walton Files is a digital VHS purgatory where childhood mascots whisper through missing person cases and corrupted memory. There's a place in the Walton Files where a cartoon rabbit stares directly into your frontal lobe and just doesn't blink. And that's the least horrifying thing that happens. This isn't Five Nights at Freddy's, it's trauma therapy. As conducted by Chuck E. Cheese's long-lost cult cousin, it's presented like Lost tape straining videos VHS archives from a company called Bones Burgers. You think it's cute, it's not. It's deeply rotting nostalgia in pastel colors. Each episode starts like a YouTube unboxing, ends like an open casket for someone you might have known. Every frame is screaming under its own visual filter. Every animatronic has teeth in the wrong places and trauma in its wiring. And then come the Walton family secrets. Oh, you wanted lore, you get murder, you get amnesia, you get souls crammed into mechanical mascots like leftovers in Tupperware, and it all unfolds so patiently. Like the tapes don't care how long you take to realize you're watching people die out of order. The horror is sticky, it clings. You close the tab, and the bunny's still smiling, not malicious, just wrong, the kind of smile that feels like a scream that forgot how to leave the mouth. Watching the Walton Files is like finding a diary in the woods, and halfway through you realize it's addressed to you and it knows when your birthday is. Petscop is a fake let's play of a game that never existed, except it does, and it knows what you did in 1997. Here we are, the rabbit hole. To end all rabbit holes, Petscop starts with a YouTuber named Paul playing a mysterious PlayStation game. One he claims to have found in a dusty case. No manual, no developer. The game, adorably unfinished, low-poly charm. You catch weird creatures called pets, but then the camera pans left and it never comes back, because this isn't about gameplay, this is about haunting via controller. There are hidden rooms, unlabeled doors, text that changes when you're not looking, and then it happens. A windmill, a child's name, a grave. Paul stops reading the text aloud. You have to finish it. Petscop is an emotional sinkhole. It's not scary like jump scares, it's scary like realizing your old toys were trying to protect you from a memory. You repress themes of adoption, abuse, and something called the new maker planning. I'll Google it, you'll regret it. Everything in Petscop is encoded, even the silences. And Paul, the narrator, he's unraveling too. The longer he plays, the more we realize he's not showing us the game, he is showing us his confession. He's digging through pixels to remember something, and the game is helping him. Petscop never ends, it just stops, because the horror isn't finished. It's unfinished on purpose, like grief, like a half-loaded save file you can't delete, because part of you is still inside it.